Hey guys, Ben Silk back with another video, and which with round one of March Madness coming to an end, we are now going to predict the games in round two, and then we'll fill out the bracket till the championship. So I had Arizona winning in round one. Let's see what I got in round two. Stay tuned to find out who I got winning the bracket as round two. I'll be predicting the round two games as well. But first, we got Duke and TCU. It's going to be, I think this is going to be a good game. I think TCU is going to give a fight, but at the end, I do think Duke gets it done. Just talk about the Duke and Siena game. It was impressive how tough Siena played Duke. By the end, Duke showed why they're a good team. I think they get it done against TCU. Then you got Kansas and St. John's, both of them coming off great wins. Kansas had a bit of a scare last night at the end as CB almost came back and won, but it wound up being Kansas who held on. But I'm going St. John's in this one. St. John's a solid team. I think they get it done. They've been on a bit of a run lately as well. Then you got Michigan State and Louisville. I think Michigan State gets it on done. And then you got UConn and you got UCLA. And I think UCLA is going to give them a fight. You saw how UConn played Furman, but Furman had a really good night as well. So, wasn't a fluke. I think UConn moves on. Then you got Florida and Iowa. I think Florida continues their dominance from round one. Iowa's going to play them a bit more tough, but Florida gets it on done. Then you got Vandy and Nebraska. I think it's going to be Vandy who gets it on done in this one. Then you got VCU and Illinois. VCU coming off a big win against North Carolina. However, North Carolina was missing their best player, which I was not aware of till after they lost. But it was still a big upset for VCU. I do think Illinois is going to win this game, however. Then you got Texas A&M and Houston. Not much to say. I think Houston is able to get it done. So now on to next bracket. You got Kentucky, who almost lost, had a close one to Santa Clara. Then you got Iowa State with a big win. I think it's going to be Iowa State who wins this game and advance, but it's going to be a good competitive game. Then you got Virginia and Tennessee. Wright State played Virginia tough, and Tennessee coming off a win against Miami, Ohio. I think it's going to be Tennessee who gets this one done, beating Virginia. Then you got Texas Tech and Alabama, another good one. And I think it's going to be Alabama who gets it done. Then you got Michigan and St. Louis. I'll be calling this game a little bit later today. And folks, I think we say goodbye to our one seed. I did that St. Louis and Georgia game. St. Louis looked like a damn good team. They played Georgia tough, almost doubling the amount of points that Georgia, from Georgia, how much they scored. And yeah, St. Louis, I think, is going to upset Michigan, and I don't think they're done either. Then you got Florida and Purdue. I think Purdue does get it done. Florida's going to play them tough. You got Texas and Gonzaga. I think it's going to be Texas who gets it done in this one. Gonzaga did not play Keystone State. It was a close game. They played them tough, and I think Texas is going to find a way to get this one done. Then you got Arkansas. They take on High Point, and gotta do a quick check. Yes, Arkansas, High Point. High Point, it was a great win in the first round against Wisconsin. However, I think Arkansas, too good of a team. Then you got Arizona, Utah State. I think Arizona is going to get it done. Now on to the next round. You got Duke and St. John. I am going upset. St. John's, I feel, after seeing how Duke played in that first round against Siena, I think teams could beat them. I think it's going to be St. John's, who's been on a bit of a run as of late, who gets it done against Duke. And that will be the second one seed out in this tournament. And you got UConn, Michigan. Let's make this interesting. I think it's going to be Michigan State who's going to get it done and advance to the next round. So, Michigan State will take on St. John's in the Elite Eight. Then you got Florida and Vandy. Florida look damn good. They're going to be a tough team to beat. They looked damn good the other day. But Vandy, I think, is going to play them tough. But at the end, I do think Florida gets it done. Then you got Houston and Illinois. I think Houston gets it done. So you got Tennessee and Iowa State. I think it's going to be Tennessee who's going to pull it off to advance to the Elite Eight against Iowa. Then you got St. Louis and Alabama. St. Louis is going to continue their dominance, and they are going to advance to play Tennessee. A bit of upsets here. Then you got Texas and Purdue. I think it is going to be Purdue who advanced, and Arizona takes on Arkansas. I think we're going to be set for a very good game there, but Arizona will take it. So you got your Final Four now, St. John's Final 8. And we got some good games. But we got St. John's and Michigan State. I think it's going to be St. John's who gets it done against Michigan State. And St. John's is going to advance to the Final Four. Then you got Florida and Houston. I think another good battle. I think it's going to be Houston who gets it done over Florida. Great run by Florida, but I think it's going to end here, and Houston is going to take that one. So St. John's takes on Houston. Now in the other game, you got Arizona and Purdue. I think it's going to be Arizona who is going to get it done here. And then you got St. Louis and Tennessee. St. Louis is going to continue their streak to head to the Final Four, and I think we're set for a Final Four. You got St. Louis and Arizona, St. John's, and Houston. First game heading up, we're going to do St. John's and Houston. I think St. John's is going to get it done to advance to the championship game. It's going to be a great battle till the end, but St. John's streak and run is going to continue. And then you got Arizona and St. Louis. What a one for St. Louis. Unfortunately, I do think it's going to come to an end here, as I think Arizona will find a way to beat them. And I think they'll pull away, too, and take control of that game. But great one for St. Louis, and a team to keep an eye out for in this March Madness tournament. And then finally, you got Arizona and St. John's in the championship. It's been a great one for St. John's. Fortunately, I think it's going to be Arizona who is going to get it done, and I am sticking with Arizona as my championship. But yeah, these are my predictions after round 1 of the tournament. But comment who you think is going to win the tournament still. I got Arizona. What do you guys think as we head into round 2 today? But thank you for tuning in. I'm Ben Silk. See you next time.